Welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out, where we deep dive into ClickFunnels 2.0 and how to use it to grow your funnel building business.
Hey, I'm Susan.
And I'm Andrea.
Come along with us as we learn and discover how to use the new ClickFunnels and how to make it bend to our will.
Hello and welcome to CF 2.0 Geek Out. You can notice today that it's just me. All of my fearless comrades are not with me. Susan's feeling a little under the weather, and today we're going to be focused on some of the work that Susan and I have been diving into. Even more specifically, it is around being able to understand what is the architecture that we are relying on when we do our membership builds. So when we go into any membership build, we usually always start with the intention, and the intention is connected in with the architecture that we choose to build from. So when Susan and I were working last week and just trying to work through some of the nuances of these builds, we thought, why not use some of our time together in CF 2.0 to share some of this work? Because I think no matter whether you're building in 1.0 or 2.0, this material is really helpful to build amazing membership experiences. And especially whenever you're going over into 2.0, it's some of the language and some of the things that we're going to be sharing, it comes from this architecture understanding. So we thought, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and just share all this wonderfulness with all of you wonderful humans and help you to be able to get set up to build amazing systems. So I'm going to go ahead and share the models that we work from. And this would really just be a very high level overview. Again, the goal is that if you are building any kind of membership space, these models will help you build better experiences with those spaces. So let me go ahead and flip on my screen. All right, so what you see here is whenever you build any kind of amazing journey, I think of it as three main components. You have the models, the experience factors, and the design elements. The membership models, these are the ones that we're predominantly going to be talking about today. And I'm just pulling up on my phone to see if there are any questions. So if anybody has them, you can go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'd love to talk more about that with you and answer any questions you have as we go. So give me just 1 second. Let's pull that up. So that's available. Okay, awesome. All right, very cool. And I'll go ahead and close there. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. So go ahead, and if you have any questions as I go, you can go ahead and put them in the chat. Hi, Sherman. It's nice to see you. Okay, so let's talk about these experience models. Well, what do I mean by that? So what I mean by experience model is this. I have been studying the membership site space for quite some time. It very much is akin to what I used to do in software development, where you have more of a complex system where the customer is interacting with it in multiple different ways, right? It's not just like I'm coming and I'm hitting a sales page and I need to get you to convert. Instead, a membership space is something that the customer comes back to again and again. And somehow in the way that you construct that membership space, you help them accomplish the thing that you're wanting them to accomplish. So when we start looking at membership spaces, I have studied, this is actually a much bigger number now, but when I did this presentation, it was, I had studied about 60 different membership spaces and just did a deep dive on, how are they constructed? What is their purpose? Does it actually accomplish the thing that you're trying to accomplish? And this could, anything that fell under this umbrella, it could have been something that somebody called a membership or a digital course or a knowledge base or an FAQ or an online workshop or a mini workshop or a portfolio, archives, libraries, coaching programs, masterminds, customer portals. It all kind of fell under this very broad umbrella of a learning experience and a virtual membership space that they were creating. So after deep diving into all of those different spaces, I came up with in that there really are 6 different types of membership models that exist out there. And if you're familiar with Stu McLaren's work, this is not to be confused with that. When Stu McLaren talks about membership models, it's predominantly about the business model. So what's the payment arrangement? And his, I have the ones I created mapped to his, but this is not the same as his in terms of, this is predominantly focused on the experience inside of that membership area. And so these are experience models. Okay. Those 6 experience models are these. We have the challenge model, the course model, the coaching program, the library, the mastermind, and the summit. Now, let me dive into this a little bit more on why is it important to know what experience model we are trying to build. And the reason is this. And that is, think of experience models like the architecture. So if you said, hey, Andrea, go and build an obstacle course. If I was thinking about an obstacle course, the intention of an obstacle course, right, is to have somebody start at a very specific position and then go step by step, like do this obstacle, accomplish it, go, 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 go to the next obstacle, finish it, go, 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 do to the next one, and so on. So there's a very clear beginning and end. There's very clear, I want you to focus on one step at a time as you're going, and then do it as fast as possible, right? So how I would architect this is similar to what you see over in the obstacle course picture, right? Where there's a clear path, there's one step. I might provide a little bit of instruction, but it's built for efficiency so that somebody can actually get a really great workout or compete in some way and go through this obstacle. All right, now compare that with if somebody said, hey, Andrea, I want you to build the best library experience ever. Well, the way that I would build a library experience is very different than how I would build an obstacle course experience. If I'm building a library experience, my intention here is that I want it to be warm and inviting and maybe a little bit more like chilled and laid back. So there's like plenty of seating rooms, and I don't know who's going to come in the door in terms of what exploration they want. I just want to help them continue on with their exploration. So if they're coming in seeking poetry, well, then I want to help them on that poetry journey. If they're coming in seeking about bird watching, well, I want to help them like continue on and find the bird watching and enjoy and partake and deep dive. So the library experience you can see over here on the other picture is much more fluid, right? Like people can walk around the library. It's all accessible. There's plenty of seating room. It's, the shelves are lower so I can see all of my options, and they're categorized in ways that have like similar things right by each other so I can help you continue on with that learning journey. So the way that I would construct the experience of a library is very different than how I would construct the experience of an obstacle course. Hey, Dan, nice to have you. So this is the reason why when we think of those 6 different membership experience models, it's important to know which experience model are we going for. So to put this a little bit more tangible and a little bit less abstract than the library and the obstacle course, let's take a look at just 2 of these. All right, so I'm going to look at the challenge model. Challenges are really popular right now. A challenge model. And the terminology is a little bit tricky because when I say challenge model, I don't just mean like the traditional sense of a challenge model. A challenge model is any experience where the intention is, let me go down here, where the intention is about that like first start. So this is 1 or more units of instruction that the students go through within a set time and a calendar date, and there's an energy push behind it, right? There is a very intentional, compelling, like, I need to get you into motion. And so there's a lot of emphasis on pressure and goal and finish. And it usually is intended for people who are trying to make that first step, who are trying to bridge like that chasm of I'm here and I need to get you inundated into my world as quick as possible as the entrepreneur. So it's usually that like first start. It's that first step. It has a really concentrated effort to start the momentum and keep the momentum going. It usually has people coming through at the same time. So what I call a cohort model. And again, there's this like time pressure or really concentrated energy and like, let's go, right? From beginning to end. And it's usually like more bite-sized chunks of people into your world. I'm a highly visual person, so having visuals always helps me. So when I think of a challenge model, this is what I visualize. It's a momentum starter. It's like right at the gate. It's like, let's go. Let's take a little bit of a step that you're not completely out of your comfort zone, but we just got to get you started. So it's like that first baby step. It's that first, ball to get the momentum going. It's a little bit of a leap that might be scary, but it's doable. And I can see how to do that. That is what the intended experience is of when I'm making a challenge experience. So to give you a really real world example, this is actually Dan's, something that he had built, but I think it just exemplifies it really well. And that is here. So he created this amazing membership site for a challenge for another customer. And I think he did some really good things here in terms of the intention of a challenge model. So here it's day 7 of your challenge. So I want to keep them focused on the obstacle that's right in front of them. Again, because I want them to go like, let's keep going one at a time, step, let's go. So you keep that pressure on by showing immediate progress as soon as somebody lands in their space. You keep the focus on that immediate goal that they're trying to accomplish, and you keep them very targeted and like, again, kind of almost akin to that the obstacle course where it's like, I want to run, go do the obstacle, run, go do the obstacle, run, go do the obstacle, and keep that pressure on to keep you in momentum and get you to take those first steps. Another really good example is the way that they used to run One Funnel Away Challenge. They're doing a lot of changes on One Funnel Away Challenge, but how they used to run it was very much this like Mission Impossible, dun, 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 right? And it was like, wah, wah, and then you'd have, your mission, day 1 mission, day 2 mission, and it wouldn't unlock until that day. And so basically you had this like message will self-destruct from Russell saying like, let's go today, do this. And it was very concentrated 30-day effort to get you across the finish line to start building funnels for your business. So again, really good example of like, I just need to get you into momentum in terms of a challenge model and being able to just keep people on that path. So challenge models, again, the intentional experience is like pressure and goal time to finish, and usually one step at a time, concentrated effort at the start, lots of momentum, keep them on target, and it's a jump start, usually the first thing in your world. Now, a lot of times people ask, there is a connection actually between the experience models and where on your value ladder you are. So typically we see challenge models early on in the value ladder when you're just starting to bring people into your world. It's almost a lead gen technique a lot of times. So that is one of the experience models, and that's the challenge model. All right, now let's look at a very different but related is the course model. So a lot of times, and Susan and I had this really great discussion about like what is the difference between a course model and a challenge model, because I think sometimes they get mixed up. So a course model is where you're doing one or more units of instruction. We saw that with the challenge model, but normally there's some sort of test or certification or rites of passage in order to get to go through the course, right? And get acquired at the end. Normally it's self-paced. You can do a cohort model. I personally think that cohort models are really effective because you have social pressure, but it's not needed. There's usually lots more content. It's very skill and competency builder based. And so it's a little bit of a bigger lift than what we see in a challenge, because I actually want to see deeper awareness, deeper understanding, and bigger behavioral changes when I'm doing a course. And the goal, I think really great courses, the goal is transformation to some degree of depth where there's a clear path to mastery. Versus again, challenge is like, I want to get a taste. I want to get a little win. I want to get a little bit infected by that thing. Where a course is like, okay, now we're going to do intentional, deep behavioral changes. And that's the goal. So when we think about challenge, or when we think about course models, I usually think about this. All of us have this like traditional sense of education, which is up here on the right. But that one is, we're breaking away from that more and more, I think, that traditional education, and more towards like cooperative learning and adult learning, and maybe like on your own, like go on YouTube, you can learn it, right? So course model has really changed from like what I call the professor at the front that's info vomiting on somebody, to much more distributed and maybe more applied in a particular subset of information, and not like this huge curriculum that you would do. So if we think about course models, I think one of the best course model examples out there is Catherine Jones' CF Design School. You can see here, again, it matches all of the things that are required in a really good course model. There's a clear path to mastery. It starts with what I call high support and high structure, low choice. And it moves you up to the path of mastery, which at the top of that mastery, you want high choice, low structure, and a different support system. So it systematically brings somebody through. There's clear rites of passage in her badging system. And so as I'm going through a DIY self-paced, I'm going step by step. I have to accomplish that rites of challenge, and then I'm going. I don't feel the pressure like I do with the challenge model, and what I'm learning is a much more in-depth understanding of a skill or a competency. And again, I have this rites of passage, and I keep going. This just happens to be 100% self-paced. It's not dripped or time released. It is 100% on me, but again, there are clear paths to mastery as I go, and she's done a phenomenal job of hitting some of those great learning techniques where celebrating milestones, and she has just some really amazing things in here that help in the overall experience and help me to achieve the skill and the competency that I want to achieve. So very good at intrinsic motivators. I think, just a side note, a lot of times when we see badges, we usually do them wrong because we make them about external motivators. And I think any really great badge system is actually driven by the transformation I already want. And the badge is just the icing on the cake. The badge is not the reason I'm doing the thing. It's just I see you and I recognize you for the transformation that you're making, and it's the transformation you already want. So that is where badges are really good, and she has hit the nail on the head on that. She's just done a phenomenal job with that. So finally, when you think about, are you building a course model, and sorry, that should say course model, not challenge model. Let's just go ahead and change that now. Then it really, again, is like, is it self-paced? Is there a depth of learning? Is there a competency and skill? Have you identified what that actual behavior change is? If you haven't done that, then I would wager a bet that you're probably info vomiting all over your people instead of giving them an actual clear behavioral change. So on that note, I've given you 2 of the models. We are going to continue to dive in on these sessions to talk in more depth. Okay, now that we know what the model is, what might we be able to do in the build to enforce that intention? And so that'll be coming up in the future weeks while we're kind of waiting for 2.0 to give us a little bit more. I found something out today. I don't think I can say it though, so I'll have to wait. I think there'll be more happening next week. How's that for an open loop? I think there's going to be a lot more happening next week, which I look forward to sharing with all of you guys. And until then, if you have any questions, or I'll go ahead and switch back over to just me. If you have any questions or want to just geek out on all things membership builds, you are definitely in the right community. So looking forward to talking with all of you guys, and hit me up with any questions. Until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday, and thanks for tuning in.